Hey, welcome. Today I want to talk about something that changed the entire course of my life, moving countries in your 20s. If you haven't yet considered moving abroad or even going for like a gap year or like moving abroad for like a few months here and there, this video is for you. First, I want to start with point number one. One thing I noticed when you move abroad is that you realize that you are truly on your own, but in the best way. A year ago, I moved from the UK to Malaysia. My career was just beginning. I just graduated. I got my first corporate job. So it felt a bit risky to then just up and leave and move to Asia because I wasn't really sure what to expect in terms of career growth. So when it comes to moving abroad, it is a like and moving countries in your 20s, you are taking risk. And at first, it could feel like you are cut off from everything familiar. Your support system is thousands of miles away, but over time, that distance becomes empowering. You stop needing to check in with family or friends before every decision. You become the CEO of your own life. You trust your gut more. You realize that being alone doesn't mean being lonely. It means having sovereignty or having sovereignty over your own life. That level of freedom can be scary, but could wildly also be liberating. Number two, you learn to walk at a different pace. When you move abroad, you are forced to reset your rhythm and the beat to like, the beat that you're moving to. You know when people say um, dance to your own beat or the beat of your own drum kind of thing. When you move abroad, you realize that whatever country you go to, they are beating to a different drum. They are walking at a walking to a different rhythm. They have a different pace. The way the people live, eat, commute, socialize, it all changes. Um, and like in your eyes, you see the change. Another thing that I notice when you move abroad is that you stop running the rat race and start paying attention to your own pace. Whether the culture is slower than you used to, or more mindful if the country you're at is moving at like a fast pace. It forces you to evaluate what kind of life pace actually feels good to me. And I think for me, I when I moved here and also when I went to Somalia for my gap year, I realized that I love the slower pace. I don't really like the London hustle culture, like everyone walking fast in the pavement. I think when I came here and just seeing everyone just relax and like in the skate park, like the skate parks in like 10 p.m., 11 p.m. in the evening, people are just like sitting on the floor cross-legged having a bag of chips, just hanging out with friends, like just like you see mom and kids and like just everyone like out at 10 p.m. on the weekend just sitting on the floor in a skate park or whatever, and it's just like that slowness. Just seeing that was really eye-opening and I really loved that and I really liked it. Same for Somalia. um just seeing how everyone just relaxed, taking their time, I think I really come to appreciate that slowness. Number three, when you move abroad in your 20s, you learn to balance your feminine and masculine energy. So, if you're a woman like myself, that's something that I realized. I was more in my masculine energy than my feminine energy for sure. But when it comes to if you're a woman and you move abroad to Asia or Africa, moving abroad teaches you to hold both softness and strength. You have to be almost like resourceful, organized, resilient. So that's your masculine side stepping out naturally again because you're in a different country than you used to. But you also learn to lean into flow, intuition, creativity, and that's your feminine side rising. And I realized that I had more flow, intuition, and creativity living in Malaysia, and then also I noticed that when I was in Somalia for my gap year. Being in a new place forces you to rebalance these energies. You can't just be a people pleaser or live on an autopilot anymore when you are living in these cultures that have the slow pace, that live casually and live meaningfully and have purpose. They're not rushing or anything like that. They're not in a competition. So that being in that new environment, being in that specific environment heals you. And I think every person, especially women, should at least feel that once in their lives. You should be able to travel and experience that like at least once in your life. Okay, number 4. When you move abroad in your 20s, something I noticed is that you become crazy creative. There's something about being surrounded by new people, languages, buildings, even weather. It lights up a new part of your brain. Ideas pour in, business ideas, side hustles, content, even just creative ways to live better and to tweak your life and your systems and your daily routine. The mental space you gain from leaving your usual environment unblocks this inner innovator you didn't know even existed. And I think that is important because I think creativity, especially if you're a woman, is so important because it's not, I think, consuming and just always feel like you're learning and you're like a container and like you just things are just going inside all the time, whether it's your brain and like whether it's the knowledge or etc. I think it's important sometimes to have an outpour, have something leave, like something exit, whether it's journaling, venting, art, like just something that, because when something leaves your soul and leaves your body, it makes you feel so alive. And I think that's just how, like, that production, that creativity, something you produce, something you birth, I think it's just so powerful and it makes you feel so alive and you want to do that again and again and again. And you realize that that's like the best form of serotonin. That's like the best thing, source of like serotonin and dopamine you can have. 5, you get clear on the lifestyle you want for the next 2 decades to come. Moving away gave me perspective. I realized that I never want to go back to commuting or sitting in an office again or having to apologize for being sick and being at home and having to ask for time off. I realized I want flexibility, freedom, and to be location independent. I probably wouldn't have seen that clearly if I stayed in my comfort zone or stayed in my country. Um, if I did not move away and if I did not see and experience life outside of my hometown, I don't think I would have been crystal clear what I want and what I don't want for myself. Being in a new country made me ask myself, what do I really want my everyday life to look like? So I would say definitely go out there, go to different countries, experience new things because you get to get clear on the lifestyle you want for the next 2 decades. You get to shape that and you can say, okay, this is a grand day one. I'm going to sit down and plan and craft out the life I want and how it's going to look for the next 2 decades. And I think traveling unlocks that part of yourself. 6, traveling and moving abroad in my 20s made me take my health more seriously. In the UK, before I moved to Malaysia, I had bad knees. Like I couldn't walk for 10 minutes without pain. When I moved here to Malaysia, I got so frustrated with my knees. So here I am in a beautiful country, it's tropical, nice and hot weather, the people are amazing, and I find myself in discomfort because of my knees. It made me so mad, and I made a decision to do something about it. I enrolled into a commercial gym, even though there was already a gym in my condo. I got this membership because I needed it to change. I needed a change of scenery. and to commit to this new goal and to be fully committed to it. Because again, it's like if I'm seeing other people working out, if I'm paying for the membership, if I have access to a personal trainer, it's going to help me reach my goal faster than if I'm using the gym in my condo here in Malaysia. Within months, I went from being in pain after short walks to being able to walk 10k steps free, pain free. So sometimes the change of country creates the right kind of discomfort, the kind that makes you act. And you want to be able to act, you want to be able to take decisions. If I was in London right now and the weather's shit, the people are awful, like in terms of just the attitude and their zest for life, right? I could blame my environment and I would factor in my environment and saying, my environment isn't so great, my knees aren't so great, life isn't so great, so what? It is what it is, just take it on the chin, keep moving. But then I moved to Malaysia where the weather's great, the people are amazing, and I'm in discomfort? What? I have to do something about it. It gave me the kick up my ass that I needed. I was like, you know what? No way. Yeah. I'm 26. I'm not going to spend the next however many years I have my life being in discomfort. I need to sort out my knees. So I started working out, strengthening the muscles around my knees to make sure that I can walk for hours without being in pain. And that's my life right now. I can walk for hours without experiencing knee pain. And I'm just so grateful for that. Okay, number 7. You become more daring and intentional. So when you move abroad, in your 20s especially, you become more daring and intentional about your life, about your decisions, about everything. Something about being in a new country gives you boldness. During COVID, I moved to Somalia for a year. When I came back to the UK, I was a changed woman, more bolder and intentional. I started applying for jobs I would have hesitated to before. I became more intentional with dating, more clear on what I wanted when it comes to a spouse. And honestly, that shift led me to being married. I think it's very important that we stop wasting time and start taking action towards our goals and taking our goals more serious. And I believe that moving countries while you are in your 20s helps with this. It helps you become more daring and intentional, and move with purpose. Number 8, you take relationships more seriously. You find yourself just taking the relationship aspect of your life more serious. You find yourself talking to strangers more because you kind of have to, right? You're in a new country. And those awkward conversations at cafes or co-working spaces, some of my most meaningful friendships were born that way. When you move abroad, you realize that community doesn't always come to you, you build it. And those relationships often become richer and more purposeful than the ones you left behind. Last but not least, number 9. When you move abroad, you find peace and purpose. This is the part no one talks about. At some point, between all the challenges and growth, you start to feel calm. You're not just reacting to life anymore as it comes and hits you. Life's not just happening to you. You feel connected to something greater than yourself. You start living on purpose, not by default. And that peace is the real win of moving abroad. Thank you so much for listening. So if you're in your 20s and you've been thinking about moving countries, I'd say go for it. It might be the most uncomfortable, beautiful, transformative thing you ever do. Let me know in the comments if you've moved or if you're planning to move. I'd love to hear your story. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs a little nudge to take their leap.